Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of He Said, He Said, He Said. A look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm your host, Alvin King, and welcome to our Friday, April the 4th episode. I hope everyone's doing well, and wherever you are, spring is in the air, and it's as beautiful as it is here in Washington, D.C., where I am. The weather has been definitely coordinating with everything that I love about life and this weather. Um, Again, thank you for joining us. And we are so excited about the month of April, ladies and gentlemen, because we have brought back a series that we did in March of 2024 and called March for Art. And this year we are doing April for Art. And every Friday in April, we are bringing you a fantastic artist, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, we got so much feedback after doing the show in March. It just made sense to find, you know, 4 great artists and bring them back. So welcome to our show tonight. And for many of you who are not art lovers, I just wanted to let you all know that, you know, art can help us understand our history, our culture, our lives, and experience of others in ways that just cannot be achieved through other means. It can also be a source of inspiration, reflection, and joy. And speaking of joy, tonight we have brought back someone who was here in March, and I thought it was so appropriate to bring him back. Cyrus Nelson is with us here tonight again, ladies and gentlemen, from Atlanta, Georgia. I cannot wait until you talk to him and he can share with you how his life has gone since he was last on the show here. We're glad to have him back. And again, I spoke about how beautiful it is in DC last week. I talked about the cherry blossoms. They are definitely in bloom here in Washington. I didn't get a chance to go down last weekend, but I'm hoping to do that. But I want to say to some lucky family, ladies and gentlemen, this week they were on the tidal basin, and who in the world thought that they could be photobombed by anyone other than the president himself, President Barack Obama? This lucky family right here. I mean, I've seen them on the news. They're doing like a little news tour. They were down there with their photographer taking pictures. And this young woman took snaps. It's a female photographer. She snapped a shot. She didn't even realize it until she started going through her pictures and all the pictures that she had taken. And so, I mean, can you imagine what it would have been like if you were down on, well, first of all, yeah, can you imagine what it would have been like if you were down on the tidal basin and President Obama walked past you? That's right, you would have been tackled if you had tried to touch him. But it was just such a beautiful moment that lived out, especially with everything that's going on in the political climate. You know, it's so good to see a real president, you know, at least walking around in Washington, D.C. And speaking of Washington, D.C., I don't know if you guys know it or not, but this week they announced the 10 healthiest places to live in the United States. And Washington, D.C. was on the list. San Francisco, Honolulu, Seattle, San Diego, Portland, Denver, Minneapolis, Washington, D.C., and Huntington Beach, California. I don't know, and I've been trying to figure out why they say it's so healthy, but it is one of the healthiest cities in, you know, right now in the country. And so I live in Washington, D.C., so if anybody want to come in and have a good, healthy time, it's out there, it's been surveyed, and Washington, D.C. is the place to be. Let me say hello to some of these folks up here. How you doing, Kendall? Thank you for joining us tonight. Michael Holmes, thank you for being here tonight, my brother. Rose, thank you. Monica, George, I miss you. I haven't seen you. I hope I see you before the summer ends. Thank you all for joining the show tonight. Again, we have an amazing show for you guys if you are just tuning in. And I'm going to tell you more about it after I do what I have to do every week, and that's get my guys on here. So if you all are ready, let's get on with the chat. Hey, Jen.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Sean.
Hello, everyone.
I want to say welcome back, but Sean joined us last week. Hey, Bobby.
Well, he was with us, but he wasn't in the country last week, right?
No, I was in the new Miami, Cartagena, Colombia.
There you have it.
He has titled it The New Miami. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. He has. Well, how you guys doing? You look wonderful.
As do you.
So
Thank
do
you.
you, and so do you, Bobby.
Thank you. Okay, now that we all look wonderful. Hey, Meech.
Hey, Michi, how you doing? We do all look wonderful. Did I say we all do look wonderful? That was
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
narcissistic on my part.
No self-esteem issues here. Not at all. I'm going to get us started with this week's chat. Okay.
Go right ahead.
Cory Booker's record-breaking speech ignites a Democratic Party in desperate need of a fighter. So Senator Cory Brooks, Democrat from New Jersey, wanted to do something extraordinary, and that he did, folks. He knew the Democratic voters were desperate for it. So he took to the Senate floor with little fanfare and went on to deliver a marathon speech, excoriating the Trump administration for lawlessness and undermining American values, and in the process, breaking the record for the longest Senate speech ever, yielding Tuesday after 25 hours and 5 minutes. It was a cathartic moment for a vast swath of demoralized voters across this country who tuned in amid hunger for some action by the opposition party beyond the traditions as business as usual. It was stirring. It was emotional. He read letters from constituents who shared some of the hardships that they've been experiencing since this administration has come into power. And it was an extraordinary moment in history, and that he broke this record long held by, I'm not even going to mention his name, but someone else. But Cory Booker right now is the man of the hour, hero of the day.
I agree. Kudos to Cory. I saw some of it. I didn't think I would. I just thought, well, let me tune in. And I thought that I would get bored, to be honest with you, because I didn't know how he was going to present himself. I like Cory Booker, but I didn't know how he was going to do it. But he was really dynamic.
Oh, he got emotional. There were times when he was led to tears by reading some of the things from constituents and so forth. So it was certainly a moment that I think we will all look back on. Kind of reminds me of when he came to the defense of Ketanji Brown Jackson when she was going through her confirmation and so forth. So he has had some really, I think, pivotal moments during his time as a public servant.
I like Cory Booker as well. And he is going to be getting some competition because Gavin Newsom is also planning to get out there. And of course, we already know about AOC and Bernie Sanders. Yeah. And I'll say his name, Strom Thurmond. It was the individual who held the previous record. But do we know why he had the previous record and what he was protesting?
Who, Thurmond?
Yes.
I'm here for it. What was it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get my facts mixed up, but it was regarding civil rights.
That's what I thought it was, the civil rights.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so we'll see how this turns out, because I do hope that people realize that, or that I hope that Democrats realize that people are hungry for some action. But no offense to Cory Booker, but words are dead without action, and Democrats have to take action. So you can speak all you want, but until I see something in terms of legislation or actual protests within the halls of the Senate and the House, then I will be happy, if you will. But that's my soapbox. But let me go to the next thing, because
hold on. But before you do that, first of all, let me just say, let me say, because your soapbox was feeling pretty good, because I totally agree with you. You know, words mean nothing without action. And I think you guys prevented me from saying it last week. The Democrats are lazy to me, you know, right now. And that's how they're coming across to me. And granted, it could be for many reasons, like they just don't know what to do, because they're being slammed every day with something that they were not prepared to handle. Yet Kamala Harris told them it was coming. So whether you were prepared or not, you were warned. So, you know, again, I agree with you on that. So come on, Democrats, bring some action up in here. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the soapbox is done now.
Yeah, but because they believe, or they think for some reason, that, you know, protest, that's the way to go. And I'm like, I'm over that. And I was one of those individuals in my 20s and 30s who was out there protesting. And now we have a big protest coming up this weekend, tomorrow. So here is what to know about the April 5th anti-Trump protests in D.C. Congressman Jamie Raskin will address a projected crowd of about 13,000 people on the National Mall. Thousands of protesters nationwide are expected to participate in a series of anti-Trump demonstrations on Saturday, April the 5th. The Progressive Coalition organizing the Hands Off rallies has planned more than 1,000 events across the country for its National Day of Action, with a flagship protest slated to descend on Washington, D.C. As of Monday afternoon, a spokesperson for MoveOn.org, one of the advocacy groups leading the demonstrations, told the Washingtonian magazine that organizers anticipate about 13,000 protesters to attend the National Mall rally. Protesters are encouraged to gather at the Sylvan Theater around 11 a.m. and the main program will begin at around noon. So again, this is passe. This is what people have always done. And like I said, I was one of those individuals in the late 90s, in the early 2000s when George Bush came into the White House. That was me. And I learned that why am I here in the cold getting frostbite and nothing's changing? So again, to all those folks who are going, great. But I'm sure we all have seen the social media posts about us as Black people. Stay your home.
Yeah. Well,
this is not our fight.
I think a lot of people certainly feel that, there's a distrust in terms of, as you were saying, backing up words with the action and feeling that, when we try to move in solidarity, you turn around and vote in a very different way, or you don't follow up beyond the action. So I think there are people who are just, particularly Black people, who are just saying, like, you know what, we're going to sit back and see what you do. We're going to see what you do without us, because it seems like you want us to be there, but then can turn around and on a dime step away from all the policies and practices and protections of people that look like me or sound like me or love like me, and so I think there are I think there will be a noted absence of people of color at these marches, particularly tomorrow here in the district.
Yep, I agree.
I'm going to say what he said, okay? Because I know I wouldn't go near it. I would not go near it. I will not go near it. So I will not be amongst the numbers of people who are protesting tomorrow. But, I got to be honest with you. Yesterday, I had like a glimmer of hope in the midst of this chaos when I saw on the news that Elon Musk might be leaving the Trump circle soon. I see, all I keep thinking about is bagging and tagging. That's all I keep thinking about. But that's not where he's going. Okay. And when I heard it, all I kept thinking was, good, he needs to get out of the way. He's already created enough havoc. And I knew something was going to happen after what happened in Wisconsin, because, he just failed that, with that conservative judge that he vocally supported, lost that bid in Wisconsin Supreme Court by 10 points. And I just knew at that moment that he had become like a failure. But I'm only sharing this story because I'm looking for any glimmer of hope in them failing about something. You can.
No, I was just going to say, but what concerns me, even if Musk leaves at this time, is Musk is not an elected official. He was a private citizen, who was given carte blanche to the highest level of confidential information. What concerns me is that this man, with no political obligation to the people of this country in any way, shape, or form, has had access to information that people with years of security clearance have not had access to. And so even if he left tomorrow, my concern is that he has gone in and gotten all the information on people that he should have never had access to. Everyday citizens, competitors. He is a businessman in a competitive market. Who knows what information he, at the permission of the highest office in the land, had access to, has probably duplicated. And even if he left tomorrow, he could probably say, like, we know what, I got everything that I needed. And then
he really does.
I have to disagree with my brothers here, because to me, this is all a publicity campaign. Mr. Musk, President Musk, is not going anywhere because he has spent way too much money to disappear. Way too much money to disappear. Yeah. And he can't go away because he is part of a billionaire coalition along with Peter Thiel. These individuals, and I'm going to forget all their names, but Peter Thiel, Musk, and I think there's like 2 or 3 others. These are a group of men, all from South Africa, all who grew up in apartheid South Africa. And they're in this country trying to bring back apartheid or some version or modern day apartheid in this country. So no, he's not going anywhere. And he's just going to be in the background, still pulling the strings, the same way that Nancy Pelosi pulls the strings with Hakeem Jeffries.
I agree with that. I was not suggesting that he would disappear.
Yeah, me neither.
Just away from this high-profile office, which is even more dangerous. So, like, I just feel like he's, it's kind of like that whole notion of people like Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller. Like, they are not in the limelight right now, but they are having a huge impact on policies and practices and those executive orders that are being signed every day. You don't hear their names. They're not in front of a camera right now. But they are literally behind the scenes at a desk saying, take that out, destroy this, do this. And you know who is just signing them. And so just because he's leaving that official space, I'm not led to believe that he is leaving his sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And I agree with both of you. I don't think he's leaving at all. That there's no way that he's leaving, because one, I think the president, I called him that.
You did.
I did call him that. He relies on him, and of course, you throw in the factor of being paid. Come on,
bought.
Exactly. So no, I know he's not. But again, just to hear that he was just getting out of the way, it just felt good. So it was a feel good moment that diminished very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, I can help diminish it even more, unfortunately, with my story, which, of course, that the head of DC's African-American National Museum for African-American History and Culture is being targeted. Kevin Young, the director of the National Museum of African-American History and Culture, as we all know, is a sacred space here in the District of Columbia, is now currently in charge of the museum, not currently in charge of the museum, and has been on leave since the 14th of March. Donald Trump targeted the Smithsonian Museum network for its content, and the Washington Post reported that Young has been on a personal leave for an undetermined period. But we've learned since then that he has been let go from that position. So So according to an email obtained by the newspaper from Kevin Grover, the Smithsonian Undersecretary for Museums and Culture, Shanita Brackett, Associate Director of Operations, is now serving as the interim director. The Post report is that the first time the news of Young's leave has been made public, though there is no apparent connection between his absence and the president's executive order.
So why did he leave?
We do not believe he was put on undetermined leave and then was released of his responsibilities.
And we don't know if he did anything. Right? We don't know what he did.
Well, what he did was commit himself to supporting an ideology that is inconsistent with that of centering whiteness.
Well, and I also think that one of the reasons that the museum is targeted is because they were pushing a history or telling a history that the administration did not agree with.
Yes. That is what, basically. That's what I was suggesting, that a narrative that does not center whiteness is out of line with the intended narrative of America that the current administration is not only encouraging, but actually enforcing. When you think about the recent acts by the Department of Education, this family that was just recently shared that public schools are now there are rules and regulations being proposed now where public schools would lose funding if they have any types of initiatives or lessons, programming that support diversity, equity, and inclusion. Again, we really try to avoid just using the acronym because we really want people to understand when these policies and practices are being implemented, they are literally saying that they are opposed to diversity, they are opposed to equity, and they are opposed to inclusion.
Actually, what they're really opposed to is Black people knowing who they are and standing up for who we are, and then erasing our history. I mean, that's just me I'm kind of angry about this right now. But yeah, I think it really boils down to Black history and our power as Black people. We are 12.5% of the US population, but we are a global powerhouse.
Yeah. And that museum in
they know it.
And that, yeah, and you're right, Alvin. They know it. They know it. That museum in particular has been one of the most successful Smithsonian museums. The demand to get tickets and be present at that museum. You know how people waited in line for hours or online for days trying to get tickets. It's an untold history. It's a space that creates a narrative that was often denied and left out of American history. And that's both frightening and both angering to people who want to continue a narrative that as Black people, we've never really contributed and had a critical and important and essential role in the history and building of this nation.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and again, more will be revealed because he is not finished with dismantling all of our history, all of our Blackness, according to him, dismantling it.
Right.
Okay, he is not finished. Well, you know, before we close, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you all, to be honest, last week this story broke and I told the guys backstage, I was like, you know, I haven't done my research on this one. I don't know if we should really be talking about it. But then, you know, a week has gone and we know what's going on. So I need to take you all to church for a minute. For those of you all have heard the story about, you know, Marvin Sapp closing the church doors. First of all, for those of you who don't know Marvin Sapp is an 11-time Grammy Award nominee. His song Never Should Have Made It on his first album, Thirst. How appropriate.
Did you just
after he left commission? Here's the backstory. Last July at a conference in Baltimore, he asked the ushers to shut the doors to a church until everybody went in there or wherever they had to get it from and paid $20 so that he could reach a $40,000 dollar plate.
Yeah.
And again, when I heard it, because, you know, I go to church, you know, I was like, I know Marvin Sapp. I was like, no, he didn't. So I couldn't talk about it last week. But he actually did. And I saw the video. Have you all seen the video?
Yeah.
I saw the clip, unfortunately.
You saw the clip? And he has the nerve to go on a press tour saying that he didn't do it. Come on. Now, I'm not going to go down the road too much about the Black. Oh, my goodness. Look at this one. Never should have paid it. See, the memes are going crazy, you guys.
And look at the little usher there.
The memes going crazy. But this conversation stemming from something that has happened last July has brought to the table the conversation how the Black church goes beyond paying tithes. And this is a conversation that's now in some people's homes. And now on He Said.
Look at someone's face whose last name is Nelson. Good Lord.
I'm going to be very honest and open right now.
Okay, but go to the cliff, but don't jump. Go ahead.
Thank you, Al, because I always feel like he's just like, I'm ready to go. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the church in the South. I grew up in the church in the woods. But when I was 18, my first day at Carolina for undergrad, I got recruited into a Christian cult. almost 2 years, and people were giving up a lot of things for this church. And when I left, it was very difficult, and I learned a lot about religion and church. And what I think know to be certain is that in the gospel, Jesus never asked for anything. He said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar." That's all he ever said when it came to money.
Well, we all know that church is a business as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Church is a business.
Yes,
I get it, but there needs to be a certain decorum, because I can go to some churches, and I don't want to name the churches, but they tell you to give whatever you need to, whatever you like to give. And this church is somehow giving scholarships to people, as Bobby know who I'm talking about. They are giving. Never. So,
and that church also contributed over $1 million to the museum that we just finished talking about.
Correct. By asking people, to just give what they can, And so, I was like,
false prophets.
Wow. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we have a thank you guys for chatting the chat, but we're gonna leave the upper room, and we're gonna go. We're gonna get into the show tonight. For those of you who are just joining, we're doing a series called April for Art, and we are so happy. Every Friday, we're gonna bring you a dynamic artist, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight, we're going to kick this the series off with a gentleman who has been here before. Actually, he did our first series, March for Art, and his name is Cyrus Nelson. And he's Atlanta-based artist that sees his compositions as unions of textures, shapes, patterns, and colors that speak to the soul. His use of paint and collage create images that seemingly reach out from his canvases, from his artistic use of creativity in the field of interactive design to his most recent mixed media paintings. He expresses his love for form and movement. He finds inspiration in relationships, travel, music, art, and family, and he's definitely easy on the eyes, ladies and gentlemen. So if you all will, please welcome back to our He Said stage, Mr. Cyrus Nelson.
Hello.
Hey, Cyrus.
Cyrus.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful. Look, Cyrus, I don't. You drank that cup of youth, and I don't know where you storing it. Okay, but when I come to Atlanta, I'm gonna ask you for it. Okay, so
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's ATL.
Again, well, thank you for being here and coming back to the show, Cyrus. And for those of you who haven't met him, he's dynamic. You're going to meet him again. So, Cyrus, I want to do a little icebreaker with you before we get on with the show. So, Cyrus, tell our viewers, what is something that makes you the happiest when you wake up in the morning?
Well, as far as being the happiest in the morning, I mean, I'm just grateful to start a new day of creativity and to be able to express myself, within my artwork. I also have this book. I actually started this on January the 1st for the new year, where I write down at least one thing that I'm grateful for every morning. So that could be just having clothing on my back, food to eat, just being grateful for everything, So, yeah. But one other thing that really makes me happy this week is that my parents just celebrated their 53rd wedding anniversary on April the 2nd. So, yes. So,
come on, here's to the Nelsons.
Okay.
So, Mom and Dad, happy anniversary. Love you guys. So, yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Cyrus.
That would make me happy.
That's a lot to be happy about. Yeah. There's no question about that. So, Cyrus, for our viewers who did not have a chance to meet you when you were first on our show last year in March, how would you define yourself as an artist?
Well, I would say I'm a mixed media artist. Having a graphic design background and infusing that with painting, I love creating pieces that have line, form, and movement. Within my work, I love color, my subject matter, being African American. I love mask. I like to play on our history. So that's how I define myself, just a modern, contemporary mixed media artist.
Okay.
So it seems to me then that you kind of known yourself from a very, very early age. So with that being said, when did you know that you are an artist?
I've been painting at an early age. I think around 5 years old, pretty much. My mom and dad, they noticed that I like to draw a lot. So they just started buying me, different tools and materials to draw. And it just went from there. But I really noticed as time progressed and I went to school and everything, but I didn't take it as seriously. So, I grew up in a home of education is very important. So I was focused on that 9-to-5 corporate, life, whatnot. And I had a good friend of mine. I was still doing art, but it wasn't in the forefront. And so therefore, a good friend of mine recommended that I go to a festival, and I brought a few prints and I was like, okay, let's see, see how this goes or whatnot. And just the acknowledgement, people loving what I was doing, I was like, okay, I need a website. So that led me to a website. And then I was like, okay, I need to have a solo show. And once I had that solo show, that's when I really, and I saw how people came out to support me in what I was doing in my craft. That's when I truly knew, okay, this is what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You mentioned a couple of topics that you cover and so forth, but are there key themes or ideas that are prominent in your work?
I will say like the mask. For some reason, I'm drawn to African mask.
Mm-hmm.
I love infusing those within my work, that subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
I create pieces that inspire people, give them hope, especially what's going on today. I feel like that is so important to uplift people and motivate people. I mean, we have work that is about being suppressed and whatnot, and I want things that uplift people and motivate people to be that change and to inspire the next generation. So, yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to piggyback off of Bobby's question about your style. And one thing that, first of all, I met you in May of 2023. A friend had an art show in DC and it was you, and he converted his whole house into you. And when I walked in and saw all of your artwork in his house, I was just like blown away. And the one thing that I love about your art, and I'm not a curator or anything, but your art has movement. I look at it and it feels like it's moving. That if anybody has seen art and have had that feeling, Cyrus's art looks like it's moving when you look at it. I mean, I don't know if it looks like the people are talking to you or what. Does that make sense?
Kind of, sort of, yes. But everyone has a different, art is everyone sees something differently, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So yes, I get that. Like I said, I mentioned earlier that line movement and composition, being a graphic designer, I love that. And I'm glad you relate to my work as well. You resonate with it. I love color. I love abstract expressionist style. That's my area. That's my expertise that I love to create pieces and compositions in. So, yes.
But it sounds like then that you are, well, I know this, but you're obviously a very talented young man and you are very prolific. And I know for myself as someone who likes to bake a lemon pound cake, but I get very, very scared and nervous every time I bake one because I'm like, oh, will it turn out? Is it going to be good? And people, and it always does. And people ask me to bake one for them. I have a friend of mine, his name's Scott, who keeps asking for one of my cakes. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it because I get scared every time. So you've been as talented as you are and as prolific as you are. Do you ever face moments of creative blocks or and how do you work around that?
Yes, I actually do at times, and you can't be scared now. You just have to jump.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Oh Lord,
you just have to jump out there and do it. Just do the thing. But basically, when I have a creative block, the gym is like my therapy. So I love to work out. that keeps me sane. And sometimes I get my best ideas from just working out. Yeah, I love to work out. I'll go on a walk sometimes, or I'll just watch a show or whatnot to take my mind off of things, and just pray. Prayer helps a lot too. It's like, to me, it's like solving a puzzle, and eventually it comes together. So yes.
So with that in mind, and all of those things, obviously, that you turn to when facing a challenge, can you share with us, of the many pieces that you've produced, what would you say was the most challenging for you, and why was it so?
Honestly, I don't think I have just one particular piece that is challenging like that per se. I will say this, that sometimes when you're working on a piece that's a commission-based piece, that's a little bit different, because you're trying to please the collector as well as still stay true to who you are as an artist. So yes, I would say any type of commission, but normally when you do have a commission, at least for me, speaking for myself, that particular collector, they already are in love with the work that you do. So as long as you stay within your aesthetic, it usually works out. I mean, knock on wood on, that. But yes, that's how it normally works. So I can't necessarily just pinpoint a certain piece, but I will say when it comes to commission, because you have to think about that other person.
Absolutely.
And listen to them carefully on what inspires them, or what piece that they were inspired by that you've already created, and you try to create something in essence of that particular piece of art. So yes.
Well, Cyrus, before we let you go, to ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show images of his art, and he's going to tell us about some of it. But early on in your bio, and you talked about you being a mixed media artist. Take a moment, Cyrus, and explain to the audience what that really means.
So for me, mixed media is a gathering or collection of different materials that you infuse together to create a body of work. For me, I love, as you know, Alvin, you can see through my work when you see it in person that I infuse like different papers and textures, being a graphic designer, having that graphic design background, So infusing textures, fabrics, string, rope, just anything to create a unique piece of art. So that is what mixed media primarily is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting ready to go on a little journey. Okay, we're going to turn the show over to Cyrus, and please take your time and tell us about the art. So, if our producers will, please take it away, ladies and gentlemen. Cyrus Nelson art. Where's that first piece of? There we go.
Okay, this piece is called Angel of Mine. So when you think, as you can see, the mixed media, you see there's like little dried paint circles that I dried, and I placed them onto the canvas. There's putty in this to add texture to the piece, but this piece is primarily called Angel of Mine, and it's just having like your guardian angel looking out over you, someone there to watch over you from a spiritual realm. So yes, that was that piece represents.
All right.
Okay, this is one of my favorite pieces. This is called Bloom. This is about becoming your best self. This came from a 5-piece collection where you had to sprout, grow, and you bloom pretty much. And there was a piece called Flourish as well, but it's just becoming the best version of yourself. I love color. I love orchids and birds of paradise. So I definitely infused the bird of paradise in this piece. And the bird of paradise is originated from Africa. So that's what I mean by infusing those elements of our ancestry and being African American into my artwork. I just recently completed this piece. I presented this piece called Church Girls. This piece was showcased at West Elm for Black History Month this past February. And this doesn't need an explanation. This is about the 4 girls, the bombing in Alabama. So this is what this piece represents, the essence of those 4 little girls that were killed, unfortunately. And as you can see, the different papers and textures, and I use cowrie shells in this piece. And I just wanted to create something modern and contemporary to remind you of 4 little girls sitting on a pew in a church. So, and let me know if you guys have any questions about these pieces too as we're going through them.
Just loving watching them. I'm telling you, your art is beautiful. So just keep telling us.
Thank you so much. So this piece was actually highlighted at the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, where it was on display for a while. And I created this piece. I love jazz. So this piece, I wanted, like I said, modern, contemporary, playing with newspaper, different textures, cardboard, all those things are infused in this piece. If you saw the original piece, it's a totally different take on it compared to just seeing, an image of it. But yes, I love color. I love playing around with different textures, shapes. But this was a piece for the Atlanta Symphony, as I mentioned, and it was about music, just the expression of music and coming together. And this piece was, I think it was called Midtown Sessions. Is the name of this piece.
Yes, I love this one. I love this one.
It is beautiful, but I'm kind of curious, Cyrus, because we haven't asked you this about the size of your work. The dimensions.
Okay.
Like this piece here. How large is this piece?
Most of my work is like 3 feet by 4 feet. Anytime I do a commission piece, it depends. Like Alvin at the Collector's Home, where you first met me, that piece was 5 by 5. So I normally work on larger scale pieces. Those are mostly commission pieces, but normally my work is, I would say, from 8 by 10 to 3 by 4. So this is like a 4 feet by 3 foot painting.
I have to admit, I don't know how you got your artwork to my friend's house. It's none of my business, but I mean, literally, it looked like I'm looking at 5 foot pieces of art hanging from my friend's wall, and I mean they were hanging, they weren't standing or leaning. I mean, literally, it just blew my mind, and I was just wondering, how did he get all this on a plane or whatever and get this here to Washington, D.C.? But keep going. So yeah, they come in many sizes.
Yes. This piece is a 3 feet by 2 feet painting. This is called Leap. This was from my first solo show right before the pandemic hit. This piece is called Leap, where you learn, evolve, aspire, and prevail. So, like I said, just the mask, being African American. This is a personal piece for me. This is a piece that represents myself as far as the trials and tribulations that you go through in life. But the main thing is to keep going and not giving up on yourself. So every day I'm learning, I'm growing. So this piece resonates with me greatly. So this is one of my favorite pieces. Okay, this piece is called Red Poppies. This is one of my latest pieces as well. Well, this piece is one of my latest pieces, besides that in Church Girls. So this piece is 4 feet by 3 feet. And Red Poppies is a remembrance piece. It's a remembrance of where we've been, where we're going, and where the future, and seeing the future. So yes, about African American men and men of color. So we should always take pride in ourselves, love on ourselves, and remember where we come from and where we are going.
Amen. Amen. Mm-hmm.
This piece is called Resilient. I love this piece as well. I love the colors, the tones, playing with fabrics and textures and string, as all those elements I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I mean, it's like a strong brother, that I can't say nothing else on this piece. I like this piece as well. So yes. And that's like a 2 feet by 2 feet. I created this piece during the Black Lives Matter movement. And I just wanted to create something that, for me, that I could give back, where people could wear on t-shirts, posters. And this did very well when I created t-shirts, to support the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's just a unity piece, coming together, and supporting a cause, a well-worthy cause. Because our lives, we as Black men, women, we do matter, and we do take up space, and we'll continue to. So,
Amen. And your last piece for the evening.
Yes, this is called Vessel Study 1. And so these are commissioned as well. I only create these unless I'm commissioned to, but I love painting on ceramics. I'm venturing out into painting onto ceramics now. And I love like abstract expressionist style work as well, like I mentioned. And yeah, it's just taking my work from a 2D state to a 3D state, and these did very well. So I debuted this at West Elm, and it was very successful. So yes.
Well, thank you, Cyrus. I first of all, ladies and gentlemen, you see what I mean? His work is absolutely incredible, and I'm going to do this because I had to leave for a second, so I'm glad. I don't know if you all can see this, but I have a Cyrus Nelson art, and Cyrus, you can tell I don't remember what the name is because it's upstairs in my little money case. But this is my favorite piece of art from you. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That piece is called Cozy. So that's just about brotherhood, community, coming together, being whole, supporting each other, having each other's back. That's what that piece represents. Just unity and community, being there for each other. So yes.
Well, thank you. I know someone who just moved into a new house, and I know that they may have some walls that are screaming for some art, and I think he's up there in the corner. Yeah. So so
we'll talk, Cyrus. We'll talk.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
Lord have mercy. No pressure.
I mean, Sean, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean. I
was going to say thank you so much for that. And as a journalist, my first writing job down in South Carolina, I was an arts and entertainment reporter, and so I covered the arts. So awesome. I like to think that I have a really good critical eye when it comes to art. And so, with that being said, how do you know when you have completed a piece of work?
I feel like you just know. To be honest with you, I'll work on a piece where there's like a couple of weeks or a month or two. It just depends on that piece. Sometimes I'll walk away, like I said, go to the gym, work out, leave it alone, or I may ask a family member or a close friend. I'll send a quick, image of it. Hey, what do you think about this? Without saying anything. And if they're like, oh my gosh, I love that. Like, then I kind of know, okay, that's it. But truly, deep down inside,
yeah,
you just know. For me, you just know. So yes.
Cyrus, your energy is so much joy to be around, and you seem as you are a person who really appreciates the journey of life, who has gone through and learned from each of those stages. You talk about gratitude for the day, etc. So I'm curious, if you had the opportunity now to look back and talk to young Cyrus, is there a particular piece of advice that you would tell that little Cyrus?
Yes. Yes. Believe in yourself, pretty much. 100% believe in yourself, your talent, because that came over time, Yeah, it came over time, being confident in yourself and staying true to yourself. That means that's what I would tell myself. Like, don't second guess yourself. Just go for it, but everything happens on its own timing. So I can't necessarily look back and be like, well, if I had have done this or done that, everything happens for a reason. And I truly believe that. And so when it's your time, it will be your time, So yeah, I would say just being confident and believing in yourself. And, also what you want in life, you have to emulate that as well. If you want this, you have to be that as well. So yes. So yeah. Just being more confident.
Excuse me, how important is it to have people around you that support you in what you do?
Oh, it's extremely important. I try to surround myself around like-minded people Mentors. It's extremely important. I think we all can attest to this, but when you're on a journey, there are going to be some people that are only with you for certain seasons, and people fall off and here and there. But the only thing you can do is just the only thing I think you can do is just be true to who you are, and just keep moving forward. There's nothing you can do. I mean, you just have to, thank God for that season that you had with that individual or whatnot. But yes, it's extremely important. You learn and you evolve and you grow, and that's all you can do, because you can't bring everybody with you. Some people try to hold you down, or they see you trying to do something with your life and they try to wreck that, if that makes any sense. So you just have to surrender and be careful in what you do and how you do things. But yeah, I would definitely say having your own little community is extremely important. So yes.
Well, clearly, from what you said, I want to bring your mother and father on here. I wish they were somewhere so I could bring them on here to celebrate them. But because I'm looking at the product, their product, and I'm just in love with them. So Cyrus, what can our viewers expect next from you?
Right now, I am working on a new body of work. Honestly, right now, that's what I'm doing. I should have some summer events popping up soon, so that will all be on my social media. Yeah, I mean, like this whole last year was just a blessing. I entered this showcase for the summer, ended up winning 3rd place. Propelled me to other things that are going on. I was able to travel. I love traveling. That inspires me as well. Like I was able to take a trip to Mexico last year, and I was able to take in the culture. I purchased a few things because I support other artists as well. So I was able to collect pieces from local artisans. And just traveling, and that's what I want to do this year, travel a little bit more and just being in certain showcases this year, and eventually another solo shows. Yes.
Well, and thank you. Well, before we let you go, I know we've been flashing it, but please let our viewers know, how they can follow you and stay on top of your work. Because, please let them know that, because I think that's very important. And I'm not going to close the doors, ladies and gentlemen. But what I'm going to say is, please go to his website and look at his art. Go please look at his art. I have a piece here. If I have one, you can have one too. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So
people think a lot of times. So I will say this, like at certain shows and whatnot, people think until you talk to an artist, because each artist is different. Right. You may walk up to a piece and like, can I afford that? Or some of us, we have plans. It depends on that piece and whatnot. But a lot of people love working with me because I work with the people. If that makes sense. So, a lot of artists don't do that. Some do. I do, because I want my work to, of course, I love people that resonate with my work, but I want people to be able to take it home with them as well. I want anyone, no matter what your background is or what you do, that, hey, if I want a Cyrus Nelson original, you can have that Cyrus Nelson original. So,
okay, you all heard that, right?
Yes. So don't be afraid to talk to the artist, is all I'm saying, because you just never know.
Correct, because everybody definitely, you're right. I mean, and it makes sense. It's kind of, I'm going to use a word that I don't use often, and that's normal. But people will put the price of something before they even
exactly.
Even what do you call it, inquire.
Yes,
and it pushes them away. But this dude right here, ladies and gentlemen, okay, he's approachable, he's affordable, and he will talk to you. And he's here on he said, ladies and gentlemen. So Cyrus, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man, and opening up our series. I really appreciate it. Just a wonderful guy. Just a wonderful guy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alvin, Bobby, and Sean. Thank you guys so much for having me. And Norman, I appreciate it. And just thank you. It's a blessing to be here and just to share my journey, my continued journey with you. And I wish you guys all blessings and success as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to see you soon this year. Take care, Cyrus, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend. Oh, you asked me this. It's cyrusnelsonart.com.
Oh, yes.
My IG is Cy Nelson Art. And for Facebook, it's Cyrus Nelson Art. So, yes.
That's right. Go to it, ladies and gentlemen. Check him out. Cyrus, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Guys.
All right. Thank you. Bobby and Sean.
Yes.
I'm telling you all, please go to his website. I'm telling you all, especially my friend who, will have a housewarming party soon. And, people will have to drop some art somewhere. I don't know. But I'm just saying, please go to his website. Some incredible pieces. I mean, that was like the tip of the iceberg of what he showed, on the show. But some extraordinary pieces. Extraordinary. So guys, it's April for Art.
Yes.
April for Art. And like I told, I told the viewers, we are continuing this for the month of April. And we have 3 more dynamic artists that are coming. And next week, artist Greg Scott will be here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he is from DC, and he will be here next week. And believe me, he's going to bring some Southern soul to us like that we've never even seen before. Okay, Greg will be here next week to talk about his art, and we're definitely looking forward to that. And our words of the week, thanks to Bobby. Love of beauty is taste. The creation of beauty is art. And this was by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Bobby, that was, I don't know how you found that, but that was good.
Well, it really spoke to me because I was like, it is. I mean, the creation of beauty.
Well, he is an educated man.
Yes, he is. We got a couple more minutes, guys. Is there anything that that's going on with you this weekend that you may want folks to know about before we let them go, or that they should partake in? Anything that you want to share with them?
Well, I would just ask for prayers for traveling mercies. Unfortunately, I have to travel to the state of Massachusetts this weekend, driving up to Andover, Massachusetts to attend the memorial service of a friend and mentor who passed away. And so I will be on the road first thing tomorrow morning, going up and coming back. It's an up and down trip. So just prayers and good wishes for travel mercies.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you, Sean?
My condolences. Yes, for those of you all that live in Washington, D.C., we have a missing council member, Ward 8. So this is a ward that is considered the lowest income ward in the city, and the race has begun. So please get involved. Look at the 20 individuals who are trying to win that seat.
I'm sorry, how many?
About 18, 20 candidates have registered.
Wow.
Wow. So if you live in DC, pay attention to the local race, get involved, and find a candidate to support. I've found mine. And so get involved.
Thank you.
You, Alvin.
Commissioner Sean Nelson. I actually am going to take it slow this weekend. It's been a fast-paced week. I'm celebrating a blessing, 1 month of a blessing, and this weekend, and so I'm just kind of, laying back and just taking it easy. And I'm looking at some of the folks on here who we haven't said hello to. Dwayne Pureheart, thank you for joining us. 1 Adam 12 Adam. I'll be protesting Trump's attempt to shut down the American Museum on Saturday. Thank you. Thank you, 1 Adam. 12 Adam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Again, we love that you come on and that you share with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week on a new live episode of He Said.
He said.
You all keep smiling and take care of yourself. Take care now.
Ciao.
Good night.
Good night.